Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life.
Hi, everybody. This is Beth Almaris at the Foundation for Family and Community Healing. We're a nonprofit that is really passionate about helping individuals and organizations build skills to help improve resilience and strength. We're also very passionate about leadership development. I'm excited to introduce my guest today. We have Brent Kell here. Brent is the CEO at Valley Immediate Care out in Oregon. How are you doing today, Brent?
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So why don't you start us off by telling us about your company?
Yeah, Valley Immediate Care has been around about 25 years. We were started by three ER physicians that were working in our local emergency room. There was a time in our region where there were no operating urgent cares, and so they were seeing that result in the ED by, way more patients that didn't really need the acuity of the emergency room, sprained ankles, sore throats, taking way longer, costing too much, displacing some people that really did need their services. And so after complaining for 3 or 4 months among themselves, they all kind of looked at each other and said, let's start an urgent care. So they volunteered to work 1,000 hours free to get the thing off the ground.
Wow.
Which almost 3,000 hours they each spent before they took a dime out of the business. So it really was mission driven from the get-go. It was a time in which urgent cares weren't, prevalent throughout the country. They were kind of visionaries, I think, because urgent care, I think we've all decided is part of the healthcare delivery, a vital part of the healthcare delivery system. So they have really done a good job in the community and really served our community very, very well.
That's fantastic. How many employees do you have?
We're at about 185 employees as we speak right now. We swelled during COVID because we did lots and lots of testing and vaccines and things.
Sure.
I think our 210 and we're back to 185, which is kind of our fighting weight right now. Really great group of folks.
That's great. And so as somebody that works in healthcare, how do you guys take care of your employees in terms of like looking at employee health and wellness and emotional well-being, things like that?
Yeah, I think there's lots of different facets to it. I think, the biggest thing that we provide, I think, the most popular thing that we provide, the reason people knock on our doors and when I onboard people, the reason people are here is professional growth and development. In healthcare, there's kind of been this system where, if you want to work your way up, you quit your job, you borrow a bunch of money, you go back to school, figure out how to pay for it, and then typically go back into the workforce again, but it's a whole different company, maybe in a different location. And so we've been able to provide our staff ways to grow both financially and in skill set. So we have a program where our entry-level folks typically are people in the call center or people who work in reception, our PRS people. After 6 months, they get to train through an apprenticeship medical assistant program. After another 6 months, we put them through an X-ray program. Internally, they learn skills like casting and splinting and IV starts and
Wow.
To bring everybody up to what we like to our pathway up to an urgent care tech with X-ray, which is kind of like ER tech, but they have an X-ray license as well. They do more than actually anybody in the hospital around here, which they really love. And then we actually have 2 people. One has just come back through rotation. One is intending to come back and work for us this fall, who went up through that process and then are now in PA school. So they're going to come back and work for us as a provider as well. So I think far and away, that's the biggest thing I think we do for people. And that trickles down, to their family's well-being and feeling like they serve the community and they're more financially secure, certainly with earning power. Many of our staff actually have gotten their kids involved in programs as well. So we have quite a few kids now. We have actually 4 employees' kids are doing internships with us this summer, getting started in healthcare as well. So I think that professional growth and development, I think for people who, kids, when I talked to a lot of high school kids, if they're still in school, they're living at home, their parents have the wherewithal to pay for tuition, no, don't come to work for us. But if you've out of school, you've got a family, you're a single mom, you've got a young family, you've got a house payment, or you've got rent to pay for, you got to support yourself, we're a real good place to let people skill up and earn while they learn. And that's far and away the number one. I think we do lots of things, individual, talks. We use Lattice, which is a employee engagement tool where we connect on a regular basis with employees to kind of see how they're feeling about life, how they're feeling about their job. Real short, it's like 4 questions. What did I get done today? What I didn't get done today? How am I feeling overall? And we try to have some regular touch bases. A lot of that would be better. Ideally, would be more face to face, but we have people in like 10 different locations, and so sometimes it's hard to have those conversations real time. And we're open 7 days a week, so it's challenging. So this electronic tool has been good for us to kind of gauge how people are doing and get involved earlier rather than later. We also have a pretty open form of management. We always have somebody has, their manager, their direct report, the one who schedules them and who primarily contact with them. But we kind of cautiously embrace people come all the way up to me if they have an issue that's not getting resolved, if an issue, and it doesn't need to be, and frequently it's not anything related to work, but if they need to get involved in our employee assistance program, they need some sort of leave, they need to get some sort of flexible schedule. One of the reasons I onboard personally every single person that comes to the practice, and we'll continue to do so as long as I'm able.
Wow, you handle the onboarding?
We have our HR person does, but I spend about a half day with everybody. We go through. I tell the story in detail, talk about our partnerships in the community with our school districts and with our local health departments, and we work a lot with people with disabilities. We have 8 individuals that we employ that are served that have intellectual development disabilities. We work with Northwest Seasonal Workers, which is a group in our region that works with people who are seasonally employed. Most of them work in agriculture, the woods, hospitality. So we just talk about all these different relationships and how the employees might want to plug into a lot of those. I'm finding that an awful lot of our employees have a passion for one or more of our community involvement activities. And so we talk about how they might plug in, what the skills are needed, and how that might happen. So we spend about 4 hours total talking about all these different relationships, about our culture of service. And I think that's gone a long way towards keeping people together and aligned with the mission statement. And people really do kind of love what we do in the community.
That's fantastic. It sounds like it's your whole culture there.
It is. And I think culture of servants, in fact, even some of our names, each organization has their own language that they use. And so, our chain of support is instead of a chain of command, that our support team, myself, our CFO, our HR people, our IT people, we're the chain of support. The people are actually doing the work, the meaningful work are the people out there taking care of patients. And our job is to support them along the way. So we're very intentional about the language you use as well.
And do you do any kind of leadership development for the leadership team?
We do. We've got a pretty extensive and again, it's my prejudice, but I like to promote clinical people into management roles because I think that they get the system, the process, and many of these people that have been trained as an MA or an X-ray tech or an LPN haven't had a lot of business side. They haven't had a lot of HR. They've never looked at spreadsheets. And so our professional development looks more like financial literacy and, HR skills, business law, those sort of things. Where in a lot of organizations, maybe you're taking a CPA and, turning them into a manager. They've had those skills before. So ours are very much teaching clinical people the business skills. And my personal feeling, if they can do clinical stuff, the business stuff is a whole lot easier than the clinical stuff. If they've proven they can learn that, it is kind of a right-left brain thing, though, kind of a science versus art, that healthcare providers, no matter how much they don't believe this, healthcare is art, really, where business is more science. So
that's really interesting.
Yeah. Healthcare, because of the variable component in the patient perspective, understanding, biology, genetics, that you can give 2,000 different people the same med and you're going to have 2,000 different outcomes. So that's kind of where the art comes in.
Yeah. Well, and the art of having a relationship with a patient, right? Like that, those skills are really needed in leadership, right? Those relationship skills.
Connecting with your people on one. I think where I learned most about leadership is I've managed lots of volunteer groups in the past and ski patrols and search and rescue teams and things. And boy, if you can learn how to motivate people and you're not paying them, if you can pay them too, it's a whole lot.
It's true. As a longtime volunteer, I appreciate that statement. Well, really interesting. So, Brent, tell me, how can folks find you if they want to know more about you or your company? What's the best way to get connected?
Yeah. So Valley Immediate Care Google's really well. We're in Southwest Oregon. I unfortunately have been around long enough. I Google really well as well. So I'm on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good way to reach out and find me. You can find me. I think there's a couple. There's another Brent Kell that's has a lot of presence online, and he was I think he's a coach. I think he was a baseball coach. I think in the Midwest.
Oh,
There's a couple of us that have a lot of, but yeah, you can find me online. Love to talk about staff development. Love to talk about, resiliency in an organization. I think that's definitely my passion. I'm an X-ray tech. My passion used to be taking care of patients. Now it's watching staff develop and grow and blossom, and and see their families. We sponsor our local baseball team, and so last night we had the party deck, and we had over 200 people show up, and not only our employees, but their kids and grandkids and families and parents, and seeing this culture of everybody growing and thriving is really cool.
yeah. What was the do well by doing good?
Yeah. I think the other saying I like is live where you stand. Is you do what you can where you can, especially now with all the craziness going on around.
Right.
You can get really hung up on these things that you really can't impact, but there's some things you can do on a daily basis to help in your sphere of influence, however large or small that is, to really make a difference. And you need to focus.
Absolutely. And it's so needed right now. Like, we've never needed hope or connection more than we do right now in this country anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Brent. It was great talking to you.
Thanks. You enjoyed it. Enjoyed our conversation.
Okay. And bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.